Hello guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to a new video in the ACT and the SAT writing course. Today's session is about relative clauses and comma phrase. The objective of this lesson is to teach you how to identify the essence of the sentence. Many videos in this course redefine or re-explain previous grammar terms. So those jumping from one video to another get a good sense of what's going on. But to get the full value out of this course, it's best that we learn a few basic things about sentence and sentence structure. We will start by learning how to identify the non-essential part of the sentence, the ones that are needed for the sentence to be complete. Later on, you will learn why is it important to figure out the non-essential part of the sentence. Let's take the following example. The tiger ate my aunt earlier today. The tiger ate my aunt earlier today. This is a normal sentence. Here we don't have any non-essential information. Let's add something. The tiger that was hungry ate my aunt earlier today. By adding the underlined phrase to the sentence, we have described the tiger in more details. These phrases are called relative clause. So, what is meant by a relative clause? A relative clause is a clause that starts with a relative pronoun. One might ask me, what is a relative pronoun? Who, whom, whose, and that. These are the relative pronouns. So whenever a phrase starts with a relative pronoun, it is called a relative clause. Let's take one more example. Mark, who's wearing a blue shirt, arrived late yesterday. So is there any relative pronouns here? Yes, there is who. So who is a relative pronoun. So who's wearing a blue shirt? That's a relative clause. Any clause that starts with a relative pronoun is called a relative clause. For the relative clauses, we have two types of relative clauses: defining relative clause and non-defining relative clause. The defining relative clause, we do not use a comma with it, while the non-defining relative clause, we always use a comma with it. If it came in the middle of the sentence, we're going to use a comma before and a comma after it. If it came at the end of the sentence, I'm going to use a comma before it. So let me give you an example and you'll figure out which is which. When I say, Mark, who's wearing a blue shirt, arrived late yesterday. Where's the relative clause here? Mark, who's wearing a blue shirt? We said before that the relative clause starts with a relative pronoun. So where is the relative pronoun here? It's who. So who's wearing a blue shirt? This is the relative clause. We said before a relative clause starts with a relative pronoun. So it is who's wearing a blue shirt. So this is the relative clause. Let's check whether it's important for the overall meaning of the sentence or not, or the main idea of the sentence or not. The main idea of the sentence is that Mark arrived late yesterday. So what was Mark wearing is not important for me. So this is why it's a non-essential relative clause. And with the non-essential relative clause, we set it off using two commas. So Mark, comma, who's wearing a blue shirt, comma, arrived late yesterday. Let's take a look at another example. Mark loves the lady who lives next door. So where's the relative clause here? We said before, relative clause starts with a relative pronoun. So who lives next door? This is the relative clause. Let's check, is it adding important information or not? If I said Mark loves the lady, do I know which lady Mark loves? I don't know. So this relative clause is important for the overall meaning or the main idea of the sentence. So here it's an essential relative clause, so we're not going to use a comma. Now let's go back to the previous example and add more phrases. So after escaping, the tiger that was hungry ate my aunt earlier today. So after escaping, this is an intro phrase. And this phrase is also not important for the essence of the sentence. These types of phrases, we call them a comma phrase. As mentioned before, the objective of today's lesson is to teach you how to identify the essence of the sentence. One might ask me, is there any question in the SAT or the ACT asking me to figure out or to identify the essence of the sentence? The answer is no. It never happened before and it will never happen. So why the hell are we learning how to identify the essence of the sentence? Well, to trick you, the examiner will constantly throw long, boring phrases at you, left and right, jabbing at you with one hand to disguise the big punch he's planning with the other. Don't be fooled. Learn to strip away any unnecessary phrases, and you will get through the questions more quickly and accurately. Later on in the subject-verb agreement question, You will understand what I'm talking about. Now, let's answer the following exercise. Pause the video, try to answer them on your own, and then come back to revise the answers together. Here are the answers. If you get anything wrong, get the hell out of my videos and don't watch me again. See you in the next video. Until then, keep working hard. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Assalamu alaikum.